welcome to Anton Math. Now in this video we're going to be talking about permutations and combinations, or starting our discussion about permutations and combinations. And particularly in this video we're going to talk about arrangements and get an idea of what we mean when we talk about an arrangement of objects. So suppose we have three different books denoted by A, B, and C, and we want to put them in order on a shelf. Now how many ways or arrangements are there? So when we talk about an arrangement is going to mean, we all kind of know what an arrangement means, but in particular when we talk about arrangement, a different order is going to be a different arrangement. So for example, the arrangement of books ABC and BAC and ACB are all different arrangements of books, right? I'm taking my three books and I'm putting them on the shelf in different orders. So these are thought of as different arrangements. So we want to know how many arrangements there are. Now the way that we can figure this out is what's called the fundamental counting principle, or sometimes called the multiplication principle of counting. And the way we can think of that is we have these three spots on the shelf for books, right? And if we look at it, instead of looking at choosing all three of them at the same time and figuring out how many ways we can do that, we can think about it in a more fundamental way. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to look at how many ways I can choose the first object, and then based on that how many ways I can choose the second one, and then how many ways I can choose the third one. So looking at the first object, I have three different books, so there are three different ways for me to choose the book to go in this first spot, right? Now after I make that selection, there's going to be two different ways I can choose the book for the second spot, right? Let's say I choose book A here for the first spot, well then I can choose either B or C. Now it's not that there are two different ways to choose this book, it's that there are two ways to choose this second book after we have already chosen the first book. Or another way to say it is, for each of our choices of the first book, there are two subsequent choices for the second book. And now no matter how many ways I choose these first two books, there's going to be one way to choose the third book. So there's going to be three ways to choose the first book, and for each of those there's two ways to choose the second book, so there's 3 times 2 ways to choose the first two books. And for each of these choices of the first two books, there's only one way to choose the third book, so there's only one book left. So 3 times 2 times 1, which is 6, this is going to be the number of arrangements that I have of these books. Now I've written 3 of them here. The other 3 are going to be BCA, CBA, and CAB. So my 3 choices for the first book, see I have 1 choice is A, 1 choice is B, 1 choice is C. Now for each of these choices of the first book, so for example for my choices of A, I have 2 choices for the second book, B or C. For B I have A or C. For C I have B or A. And no matter what, after I choose the first 2 books, my third book is already chosen, right? So we have this 1. So this is what we mean when we talk about an arrangement. Now an arrangement is also sometimes called a permutation. And here we're looking at permutations of a set of size 3. So for example, if A equals ABC, then the number of ways that I can permute this set ABC is 6, which is what we just found. But what if I talk about permutations of just 2 of the books? For example, let's say I have 3 books and I want to put just 2 of the books on the shelf. So in how many ways can I arrange only 2 books on the shelf? So we're going to talk about that now in the next video. We'll see you there.